Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Ram
Ram
Ram.
Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki
Jai.
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshuvamilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Hare. Welcome all of you. Shivaji Prabhu, or I wanted to Shivaji Prabhu, these prayers which I recited now.
Yes, Guruji.
The prayers which I recited, Om Ajnana, Namamo Vishnupadaya, Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya, and Hare Krishna. No? You
Yes, Guruji.
can tell our Jai Krishna Prabhu to send it to all participants. Our Jacob had suggested that it would be nice if we can know the prayers.
Surely, project.
Thank you. So, in our previous session, we were discussing about how in this world there are various type of pressure producing elements in this world. Like, for example, dualities like pleasure and pain, heat and cold, honor and dishonor, and we should learn to tolerate them. That was one thing. Then I also said that sometimes the progress of our peers sometimes causes envy in us. We should tolerate it. Also, we should also tolerate the opinions of others and not push forward only our own opinion. And we also should tolerate the inner urges of 6 type of urges. The urge to speak, the urges of the mind and anger, the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals. So these 6 urges we have to tolerate. So all this we discussed in the previous session. The purpose of tolerating all these things is singular goal, which is to peacefully practice spiritual life and go back home, back to Godhead. That is the goal. So we don't want any type of interference in that spiritual goal, because we are living in the material world. Our spiritual progress can be arrested or stopped by these interfering pressures from the sides. So when those pressures come, we should not get frightened, nor should we try to spend our energy counteracting them. Mm. If we spend our time counteracting that, then our original purpose of returning back to Godhead will be hampered. Mm. But those who are intelligent people, they know how to deflect the misfortune. Deflecting the misfortune means when these urges come their way, people smoothly circumvent them by not counteracting them and then focusing on the spiritual goal. So we are all living in the day and age now when we are always distracted by many, many elements. So the previous class was very helpful for us to know that the distraction acts against our interest. So therefore, one should not become a victim of the distractions. Like, for example, a devotee of the Lord can go to the marketplace and say, for example, he has to buy some vegetables from a grocery store. When he enters a particular lane, there may be a meat shop, there may be a wine shop, there may be a brothel, or there may be a permit room with cabaret dances going on. But the devotee will not pay attention to those things. Devotee will just neglect those things and go straight to the grocery store and buy the grocery and go back and cook some bhoga for Krishna, offer prasadam, offer to Krishna and eat prasadam. So the devotee will not get distracted by the other shops which are alluring. When you go to the marketplace nowadays, there is so much of glitter and glamour. We have become tempted to purchase useless unnecessities. So what we learned in the previous class will help us to restrain our mind and not let the mind flow in the wrong direction, and allow the mind to become one-pointed and focused in achieving the ultimate goal of life. So is that point clear? That was the one we were discussing in the previous class. Now we are entering into the next theme, verses 31 to 38 in the second chapter. Now, let me show you the... See, this is the title. The happiness comes from doing duty responsibly. So we will see one of the slides. Here you see, this is the 31 to 37 section. It talks about a Kshatriya, the king who is meant for good administration. Kshat means to hurt, Trayate means to give protection. That in Kshatriya, king means one who offers protection from anyone who hurts you. If the citizens are going to be hurt by some enemy, then Kshatriya can offer protection. Like here you see Kshatriyas were so bold. The picture you see, they were ready to face even a tiger or a cheetah, which may climb up on the top of the horse. They were so bold there. So they could protect the citizens from various type of evils, from all difficulties. To protect citizens from all difficulties, apply violence for law and order. For example, if citizens are unnecessarily killing innocent creatures like cows, or if the citizens are being looted by thieves, then if some citizen is murdered by some murderer, or if women are being raped and polluted by some aggressive men, so then Kshatriya kings are there to punish them. There have been, you might have heard about the, hanging gardens, Babylon. There was a Nebuchadnezzar. He was such a strict king, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. He used to say that. In Vedic life also, if a thief extended his hands to steal somebody's commodity, immediately his hand was cut. Then all the people would fear to steal anything from anybody. They would never. So even if some commodity is lying on the road, nobody would put their hand to touch it because they knew that their hand will be cut. So that type of fear was there in people. So the law and order was kept very nicely. Of course, nowadays also people fear to open a bag in the public place for different reasons, because there may be a bomb now. People fear because of that they don't touch anyone else's bag. But generally, thieves and cheaters and looters flourish if the king is not keeping law and order. Yeah. In this way, if a murderer is given a death sentence by the king, it's called capital punishment, then that murderer will not be punished after death. He will not be punished. because the death punishment is already awarded by the king. And the king who awards that punishment will also go to heaven because he followed the law properly. On the other hand, if a king is careless in not administering the punishment, he leaves the murderer, goes scot-free, then the murderer will have to suffer after death in hell. He will also suffer. And the king who failed to enunciate the law, he also suffers in hell for his irreligious act, it is said. So therefore, the kings were very strict in following the law and order as given by the Lord in the sacred scriptures. It is said, Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam, it is said. That means what is dharma? Dharma means what is the natural law that is given in the sacred literatures like Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and all these literatures. So the kings were very much conversant with all these things through the saintly people, associating with them. And they knew them how to institute the laws as per God's wish. Also, now let us read a little bit and then we will. Yeah. And they also would conquer inimical kings. If a king is atrocious and if a king himself is performing sinful activities, like misusing the wealth, drinking wine, abusing women, then this king in the neighborhood will attack the other king and then subdue him and then bring law and order in his country and then collect taxes from him. They would do that. So the goal of the Vedic kings was that everybody in this world should be properly given opportunity to practice religious principles, purify their heart and go back to God. That's the duty of a king. So rule the world according to religious principles. Kshatriyas are never meant for directly accepting the order of sannyas. They should not renounce the world. Rather, they should do their duty. So training of a Kshatriya for challenging and killing the king, it says, Prabhupada says, how are they trained? They would go to the forest and challenge a tiger face to face with a sword, like you see here. Like this kind of things. Therefore, Kshatriyas were very courageous. Srila Prabhupada talks about one king who went to the battle and out of fear, he returned back. And then when he went to the palace door was closed. And the king was very annoyed. So he asked the servants, now why is the palace door closed? They said the queen has locked it. So he sent a message to the queen, please open the door. Your husband, the king has come back. So the queen said, you see, she told the king's name and said, my husband is so-and-so Singh. So he will never return from the battle. Whoever has come at the door may be a fake person. It cannot be my husband because my husband will either win the battle and come or he will die in the battle. He will not come back showing his back to the enemy and come running away like a coward back to the palace. So I cannot open the door, she said. Then the king understood, this is my wife's expectation. So again he returned back to the battle to fight the battle. So Prabhupada says the Kshatriya kings were so powerful in those days. But they did not act just for the sake of being violent for no good reason. No. Nowadays you find wars are being fought for political power or prestige or simply subduing the other country to loot their money, to dominate them. So there is no religious, there is no proper reason for subduing the other people. But in the Vedic times, if some king is atrocious, like for example, Duryodhana was atrocious, therefore Krishna told Arjuna to fight the battle and establish dharma, because he broke all the principles. You will see Duryodhana. He fed poison to his own brother Bhima. He disrobed the wife of the Pandavas, Draupadi, in the public place. Like that, he also put Pandavas in one building and tried to set fire to the building in the name of giving a pleasure bungalow to them. So many things. You all know that all the terrible sinful activities he did. And also for usurping the kingdom of the Pandavas and take it for himself. That was his plan. So Krishna said, such a irreligious person should not be at the top. he will ruin the whole world. Because yata raja tata praja. As the king would act, the citizens would copy the king's behavior. The king should be a man of character. King should be a devotee of the Lord. King should be concerned about the ultimate goal of life. And he should actually help all the people to also attain the same goal. Like Krishna said. So, in this way, these are the essential lessons in this. Now you will appreciate this point. So now, adachetpamimam dharmyam sangramam na karishyasi tataswadharmam kirtim cha hitva papamavapsyasi. He is saying, Krishna is telling, Arjuna, by fighting this battle, you are saying that you will incur sin. But let me tell you, by not doing the duty of a Kshatriya, for that you will incur sin if you don't fight the battle. Like the Krishna is telling. By giving up the fight, uh, he is saying you will be committing sin. So, there are two meanings of the word swadharma. Swa means one's own. Dharma means the natural function. So we have a material body, and inside this material body we have a spirit soul. So we have bodily dharma and soul's dharma also. Two type of dharma. The soul's dharma is eternal, eternal, and the bodily dharma is temporary. The soul's dharma is to awaken love for God and return back to God. That is soul's dharma. And the body's dharma is determined by the subtle body. In the subtle body, we have a psychophysical nature, we call it. Our subtle body and gross body put together has four tendencies. You can see that. One is you like to be a teacher, or you like to be a fighter, king, administrator, or you like to be a trade doing businessman who protects cows and performs trade and business, a third class. And the fourth one, Shudras, who assist the previous three classes. Like for example, in your body there is head. This is compared to the teachers. Like for example, we study the sacred scriptures and then we teach it. That is teachers. And administrators are compared to the shoulder. Why? If some object falls on me, I will use my hand to stop it, to protect the body. So they are the protectors of the society, Kshatriyas, administrators. And thirdly, the Vaishyas are the ones who take care of the economy of the society by doing trading, farming, cow protection, all that. So they are compared to the belly. Because in belly, the food is put in the belly, and then the belly digests the food and turns it into blood, circulates all over the body. Similarly, the Vaishyas are the third category people. They give charity to Brahmins, they give tax to the kings, Kshatriyas, and they also provide food, clothing, shelter, everything for the Shudras. So for the other three classes, they are the suppliers. So they are compared to stomach. Because from stomach you get supply for energy all over the body. And the fourth class is compared to Shudras, compared to the legs. Now the legs are carrying the previous three. The legs are only carrying the belly and the shoulders and the head, all of them. So the Shudras assist the three classes. So this is actually mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna says he only created this system. But now over the period of time, what happened? The Brahmins, some of them did not study the scriptures properly. They became immature. They artificially started claiming themselves to be greater than the other three classes. Actually, all four are required in a body. You need the head, you need the shoulders, you need the belly, you need the leg. All are required, isn't it? But some of the Brahmanas became very proud. Because of that, there was a clash between this, as in the Shudras who are fourth class, were mistreated. And they were not allowed into the temples because they were considered unclean and all that. Instead of training them and bring them to a standard making them devotees, so the Brahmana Samadhi alienated them. So because of this, nowadays people are talking about classless society all over the world. Which means they say that we don't need a head and hands and the belly and the legs. Let us make our whole body into a lump of flesh, something like a football. Yeah, that's what they are saying, classless society. But if you have a classless society, then imagine, for example, if everybody in this world become an engineer, then what about medical? Somebody has to do the doctor's work, and somebody has to do lawyer's work, somebody has to do farmer's work. Without farmers working, you can't get the grains. Similarly, without Kshatriyas offering protection, the country cannot be protected. People can't be protected, isn't it? Similarly, Brahmanas, unless they study the sacred word of God and if they are not teaching it to the people, people will never realize the truth and the people will walk the path of degradation. So everybody has to do their part, what Krishna says. So here Arjuna is a Kshatriya. He should not give up his dharma of fighting. Because if he gives up the dharma of fighting, yeah, Krishna told Arjuna in the later verses, he will tell him, because you are trying to curb the irreligious activities, you are trying to curb the sinful fellows who are rogues and thieves and smugglers. You are trying to kill them. Even if you die in the battle, it is still glorious because you did the right action and then you left your body. Therefore, you will go to heaven, he said. But if you don't take this action on these sinful people and you run away from the battlefield, then people will ridicule you. Nobody will think you are compassionate. They will say you are afraid of the battle. They will say you will earn a bad name. Krishna tells him. So in this way, Krishna insisted that everybody should do the dharma. One more thing Prabhupada says in the lecture I heard. Prabhupada says, the duty of a government is to give opportunity for every religious person to practice his own religion. If somebody wants to practice Islam or Christianity or Hinduism or Sikhism or Jainism, whatever practice they are doing, the duty of the government is to facilitate it. So, and at the same time, the government should not say, okay, if you want to practice, you practice, otherwise you want to be atheist, you can be atheist. No, government cannot leave them like that, Prabhupada says. It's the duty of the government to institute that all the people follow the word of God, and then according to their own religion they can practice, and if somebody is not practicing, then it is the duty of the king to correct them, rectify them. Prabhupada says that. And also if somebody is doing atrocious activities in society, king should immediately take an action. So he can't afford to spare them, he says. Yeah. See here, he says, in 4 verses, Krishna is describing the fault in doing the opposite, not obeying Krishna's order. What are the losses Arjuna will incur by avoiding the prescribed duty of fighting? 33 to 37, Krishna says. Here are 3 losses described. He told him, Avachya Vadansha Bahun. He said that you will become sinful by not fighting, Arjun, because you are supposed to be a fighter, Kshatriya fighter. You are giving up the fight. Already you are very famous. Earlier, Arjuna had a fight with Lord Shiva and he got the Pashupatastra. You know the pastime? It's an interesting pastime in Mahabharata. You will read it. One time, Arjuna, on the instruction of Krishna, went to one place and he was sitting in meditation and he was praying to Lord Shiva because he wanted to get one weapon from Shiva. The name of the weapon is Pashupatastra. So when he was doing meditation at the time he heard a sound. And then he saw a wild pig, a forest pig, wild boar we call it. So before the wild boar could come and attack him, he took a bow and arrow. Like that he sent the arrow. Immediately the arrow pierced the body of the wild boar and the wild boar fell down. At the same time, another hunter also, he also sent a similar arrow, which reached a bit late on the body of the pig. So the wild hunter said, it was me who knocked the wild pig, he said. And Arjuna said, no, it is me, he said. And they both had a tussle. They both had a dual fight, catching each other's hands, they're fighting. And in the course of that fight, Arjuna defeated that hunter. And the hunter quickly changed his form into Lord Shiva. And Shiva smiled and said, and immediately Arjuna offered obeisances to Shiva. He said, I never knew that you are Lord Shiva. You came like a hunter. And Shiva smiled and said, no, I just came to test your prowess. I am pleased with you, Arjun. Please take this Pashupatastra. So he gifted him after that. So Arjuna is not an ordinary person. He is now known for his fighting. In this way, he has fought many battles and he has never been defeated. That's what he is saying. And Dronacharya also knows how intelligent Arjuna was. He's one of the best students of Dronacharya, isn't it? When Dronacharya had to capture Drupada, Kauravas couldn't capture. Only Pandavas headed by Arjuna. Only he could capture. And and Indra was also very pleased with Arjuna's prowess in the heavenly planets. Indra gave him many celestial weapons also. So Krishna is reminding him of those things. If you, after possessing all these powers, if you're running away from battle, people will laugh at you, Arjun. Uh, Also, dishonor is worse than death for a great personality like you. Enemies will laugh at you, saying that you ran away. They will say, you are a coward, they will say. And their sharp words will pierce your ears. Therefore, Krishna says, people always speak of infamy. A respectful person, dishonor is worse than death. So don't run away from your duty, Arjun. Do your duty. Yes, I. अकीर्तिं चापि भूतानि कथयिष्यन्ति ते व्ययाम् सम्भावितस्य च कीर्तिर्मरणादतिरिच्यते. So here he's saying, akirtam chapi bhutani, your infamy will be katayishyanti. People will talk about your infamy. You know, this Arjuna appeared to be a very great personality. He came to the battle, he put the bow down and he took a U-turn and went away. Like that, people will talk and laugh about you. And for you, it is worse than death because for a Kshatriya, dishonor is worse than death. He can give up his life itself, but not his honor. So, and Krishna is a friend and philosopher, Arjuna. So he's preaching to him very nicely. Ill fame is worse than death, Arjuna. You would do better to die in the battle rather than run away from the battle. Yeah, please read this one. Yeah. The great generals. One of you can read it.
The great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus they will consider you insignificant.
That's what it is. You may be living out of compassion, but they will think you have left out of fear. They will ridicule you. They say, Bhayat pranat uparatam mamsyante tvam maharatah yesham cha tvam bahumato bhutva yasyasi laghavam. He's saying, yeah, please read it.
Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you?
Yeah. Avachyavadamscha bahun padishyanti tavahitaha nindantastava samartyam tato dukkhataram nukim. That's what he said. Many, they will speak with such sharp words that will be piercing your ears. They will call you a coward. You can't tolerate it. So, and then he says, if you die in the battle by curbing the irreligious persons, then you will go to heavenly planets for that. And if you live beyond the battle, you'll conquer the earthly kingdom and you'll rule. So there is no loss for you. So this is a beautiful philosophy Krishna is teaching here. This is called a hope for the best and be prepared for the worst. And why you have to be prepared for the worst? In the worst situation also, sometimes you can get some benefits from that also. Say, for example, if somebody failed in an examination, they knew what mistakes not to commit next time. Correct, no? You will always learn lessons. If something does not go our way, we don't have to be frustrated. Learn a lesson that, okay, I'll be careful. Now, next time I learned a lesson what not to do now. Correct, no? So, in this way, he says that from mistakes you learn a lesson, and if you succeed, then you enjoy the victory. Hope for the best, be prepared for the worst. So actually here Krishna teaches a very beautiful point, because there are only two extremes in life. For example, say somebody may get a wound, knee in the wound. He may get a wound in the knee. Say you're cycling, for example, scooter or cycle, you fall off. One can get a wound in the knee. Or one may get a little more severe reaction. Say one may fracture one of the legs and be admitted in the hospital for, you have to keep a band-aid around it. Probably for about, they'll put your leg like a mold kind of thing. They'll put for 1 or 2 months, 3 months. Then you get cured, isn't it? Or somebody may die in a car accident. Still there is no loss, because the body is lost, but the soul will never die. The soul will take another body. That's worst thing that can happen. But the worst thing also for devotees of the Lord are prepared in their minds, hope for the best and be prepared for the worst. Srila Prabhupada, he was in Calcutta, and at that time Japanese people were throwing bombs in Calcutta, and there was a curfew put up in Calcutta, and the government announced, vacate the Calcutta city and get out of the city. So many people are going to Sridham Mayapur, which is 3 hours from Calcutta. So Prabhupada also put his children there. And then he told his wife, you also come, let's go back. But she didn't agree. She said, no, I don't feel like leaving Calcutta, I'm going. I'm comfortable at home only, she said. And Srila Prabhupada thought, I am a husband. Husband's duty is to protect the wife. If I leave her and go tomorrow, bomb drops in the house, something may happen. It's dangerous. So Prabhupada said, okay, I will stay to take care of you. So Prabhupada stayed back. And he went to the kitchen. It's called kachori, we call it. Kachori is one type of preparation. So Prabhupada was preparing that. And he was singing Hare Krishna also. And then Prabhupada said, and he heard the sounds of the bomb drop. Then bombs would drop in the neighborhoods. He could see the sounds, he could hear the sounds, loud sounds. But Prabhupada didn't bother about it. Prabhupada said, in case the bomb drops on my house, he said, if you die, I am anyway singing Krishna's name, now I'll go back to Godhead. And in case the bomb doesn't drop on my house, then I'll make kachoris, offer to Krishna and eat nice kachoris. Either way, I'm happy, he said. Either you eat kachoris and be happy here, or you go back to Godhead. So a devotee really has nothing to fear. A devotee of the Lord. He can always hope for the best and be prepared for the worst. Another interesting thing in this world you will learn is, like consider this picture in your mind. Say a child is sitting at the seashore and making a sandcastle. And then for an hour or two, the child is enjoying making different type of sandcastle with holes and windows and doors and everything. And then the parents come to the child and say, "Beta, it's getting late now. Already 7 o'clock now, we are going home now." He just will dust his hand like this and then go with the parents. And the child realizes, my relationship is with my parents, not with the sea coast. It is not with the seashore. Similarly, devotees, all of us, we all have come into this world. This world can be compared to a seashore. But our relationship is not with the seashore, making sandcastles. Like a child makes sandcastles, we also build houses. We also have built our careers. We also build our degrees. We build our popularity. We are also building the sandcastles of all these things, because these things are going to be vanquished over time. They are not going to remain forever. But when Radha and Krishna, the divine couple, are calling us, we chant Hare Krishna, they have come, then we drop everything in this world and go with them. Therefore, understanding that my relation with parents is more important than my relationship with the seashore, that means you have a broader picture of life. If a child is attached to seashore and tells the parents, I don't want to come with you, I am happy here in making sandcastles, he has a smaller picture. So should we have a smaller picture or a larger picture? Yeah. So that is the point. You see. Yeah. Please read it. Either one of you can read, please. Yeah.
You on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planet, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight.
Yeah. He's telling either you'll be killed in the battlefield and you'll attain heaven because you're dying for the right cause. You are curbing the evil in this world. You are curbing the sinful. So you become a glorious king by doing that act. In fact, Srila Prabhupada also says that it's a duty of the king to see the Brahmanas are also studying the scriptures and teaching. If a Brahmana stops studying the scripture and he is simply living like a Shudra, then it's a duty of the king to call the Brahmana and make sure that he does his duty. And simply he cannot actually live, just live to uh, eat and sleep, just to do his duty. Similarly, the Kshatriyas, they have to offer protection. They cannot become non-violent. You see, when Ashoka king met Buddha after the Kalinga war, he developed extreme compassion for the other living beings. And he said, now Buddham Sharanam Gacchami, and he made whole India into Buddhist in those days. So now what happens if a king becomes totally non-violent? Other people will take undue advantage of him. They will climb over his head and they will defeat him. And he won't be able to do the duty of a king. A king has to be fearless and chivalrous in subduing the evil. And it is his foremost duty, because we are living in this material world where all the living beings are not pure. The living beings have come here with the intention of separately lording over, independent of the Lord. So they have a tendency to cause trouble to one another, living beings. They have the tendency to impure mind. Therefore, what the king should do, the king should make sure that everybody is given their quota, everybody is given the human rights to live their lives peacefully, and everybody is practicing their dharma also properly, and they have some, according to the psychophysical nature, they have got a job of teacher or administrator or trader or artisan. They've got one job to do by which they can earn their livelihood. So it's the duty of the king to see into all these things. The king is like a father, we can say, of the whole society. Yeah. So, Hato va prapsyasi swargam jetma va bhokshase mahim tasmad uttishta kaunteya yuddhaya krita nishchayah. Please read that. Next one, 38. One of you.
Fight for the sake of fighting without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat. And by so doing, you shall never incur sin.
Yeah. So he says that according to your psychophysical nature, you are contributing your part to the society. Like, for example, all of you assembled here today, you all have different professions. Like I am doing the profession of a Brahmana. I am studying the scriptures and I am sharing with you. Now, some of you may be doing administrative work. Some of you may be doing business. So let us suppose you are doing business, and a part of your earning, you are purchasing Bhagavad Gita and distributing to people. So you are using your money in Krishna service. Similarly, some others, they work for the previous 3 classes. So each of us, if we do our part of the work in the society, then the society can be a very happy society in this world. For example, head gives direction. Yeah, here is a question. Isn't this something we all should do, as in fight our spiritual battle against even the evil inside ourselves? Correct. That is another meaning, which I will be telling at the end of the class. After that, when I am about to conclude, I will talk about that one. Very brilliant point Jacob has brought up. Yeah. Actually, we have a material body and a spirit soul, isn't it? So the material body has to do its part. Material body has to do its dharma, which is actually the prescribed duty. But prescribed duty doing alone is not complete, because the fruits of the prescribed duty should be offered to Lord. And if we don't offer, it is incomplete. That will be coming in the subsequent sections, it will come. It's not that Krishna is saying, just do the work, earn money and enjoy life. He doesn't say that. Similarly, he doesn't say Kshatriya should fight. We should fight on dharmic principles. Brahmana should also teach dharma. And Vaishya also should earn money and spend a portion of his earning for Lord's service. In this way, everybody in this Vedic society, why we have to stick to our psychophysical nature and do our work, then our mind will become peaceful. Mind becomes very stable, peaceful. If one does not have any, in India, what happened? They brought the tractors first. When the tractors came, the bulls went out of job. The bulls had no activity like plowing. Then the bulls were sent to slaughterhouse. And the farmers went out of job because they don't have to go with the bull to plow the field. Then they started playing cards. They started playing gambling. They started drinking liquor. They started pulling the hands of other men's wives. They started chewing tobacco. And then this way degradation came in the villages because of this. Why it happened? Because they are not given the psychophysical engagement for their body. So because we are not giving them engagement, the machines have replaced the human beings. So because of that, the human beings become lethargic, or they become passionate, and they become sinful. So therefore, everybody, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, you have to identify our psychophysical nature and accordingly act. And then we will be 24/7 busy, engaged. Like I study the scriptures and I teach, that's my joy actually. Similar administrator will administrate. Like that, everybody has to do their part. And then offer the fruits to God. So that is the point. So therefore, Krishna is saying here, Krishna's arguments given here are meant to inspire Arjuna. There are particular instructions that address material enjoyment based upon identifying oneself as a body as the motivating force behind Arjuna's performance of duty. Because right now, Krishna is explaining from Karma Kanda, we call it. Further, in 39, Krishna is going to tell about higher level of working in knowledge, which means Nishkama Karma Yoga. Sukha dukkha same sukha dukkhe same krutva labha labhau jaya jayau tato yuddhaya yujyasva naivam papamamapsyasi. Here Krishna is saying that sukha dukkha same krutva, happiness and distress, profit and loss, victory and defeat, be equipoised. Like you look at the soldiers, they are going for the battle, they are actually jumping over the fire, and they are ready for even death itself. At the same time, they are spirited for gaining victory. So they are laying down their life for the nation. And then if these people are fighting a righteous war, then they will go to heaven. There won't be any sin that you will incur because you have done the right job, Krishna is telling. See, everybody is doing their duty. The rivers are giving water, clouds are giving rains, the mango trees are giving mangoes. Similarly, the great souls give themselves, they sacrifice themselves for the welfare of suffering souls. He says. So, two types of Swadharma. Spiritual Swadharma means constitution duty of the soul towards God. Material Swadharma means it's a profession, I told you. It's a must for humanity. So, when we are concluding this part, see, I have written here section B, C, and D. Section B is what we have already completed in the previously about the soul. 2.13 verse to 2.27 or 28, you will see. That's all about jnana. Jnana means I am not the body, I am the spirit soul. That part. And then later on, this part, 31 to 39 verses we are reading, called Karma Kanda, which means so Krishna is talking from a material point of view for Arjuna. You are a Kshatriya, you have to fight, it's your duty to fight, so you should fight. And you either die in the battle and go to heaven, or live after the battle, survive after the battle, and then rule the world. So in both cases, you have material benefits, Krishna is telling. That is a Karma Kanda view. And the third section is what we are going to enter in the next class, which is Nishkama Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga, we call it. Yeah. So that's called Yoga of Intelligence. So this Buddhi Yoga is a combination of Jnana and Karma. Jnana we studied in 2.13 to 2.27 or so. Jnana. And then in this 31 to 38 is Karma Kanda. So when you combine the Jnana and Karma, then performing duty in knowledge without attachment to results. You see? This is actually the Yoga Karma Kaushalam. Most brilliant actor acts like this. He performs the duty in knowledge. He knows that this duty is a very important duty, so he does it without any attachment to any results. So because he knows all the results will be going to Krishna and Guru. So detachment because of knowledge that we are not this body. He has developed detachment because by these things the heart gets purified. On the right side, you can see Nishkama Karma Buddhi Yoga. Yoga of, so that means there is Sakama, there is Nishkama. Correct, no? And they perform the duty, they do it with mental detachment, and they advance us towards moksha, liberation. Yeah. So Prabhupada is saying, in Bhakti path, what we do, perform your duty in knowledge, and you will develop mental detachment and spiritual attachment. And then you advance in Bhakti, and you offer the results of to Krishna. Yeah. The next section is briefly given. We will see that later. Huh? Krishna says, yeah, thus far I have described the knowledge to you. So analytical study, which is 2.13, 2.14 verses like Dehinosmin Jata Dehi. You are not the body of the spirit soul. That's what he's talking about Sankhya. Yesha te vihita sankhye buddhir yoge tvimam shruno buddhya yukto yaya partha karma bandham prahasyasi. So I have completed the explaining about this Sankhya, he says. So Sankhya means comes from the word Sankhya, which is to count. They count about the elements like Panchamahabhut, 5, and then 3 subtle elements, 5 objects of the senses. Like you'll see that is Sankhya, we call it. Huh? So because from Sankhya means to count, Sankhya comes from that. And basic principles are given here if you see. Sankhya philosophy started by Lord Kapila in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto. So there he says, please can you read it, one of you? Basic principles. Yeah. Any one of you? Yeah.
Basic.
Purusha, basic principles taught by Devuti Putra Lord Kapila Sankhya. Purusha, Supreme Lord is active and he creates material world by looking over the Prakriti.
That I have shown it in the picture. Extreme left picture, you can see Lord Vishnu is looking at Durga Devi, Prakriti, and then he is supplying all the souls through his glance. And the glance is called Shambhu or Shiva. So he is handing over the jivas, all of us, to Devi through Shiva. And then Devi will put these souls in 8.4 million species of life and tell them to go and enjoy whatever they want. So in this way, that's the first one. Purusha, Supreme Lord, is active. Yeah. Then?
Creates by glance. Sa.
It's actually supposed to be glance. Yeah, correct.
Yes, creates by glance. Sa Akisata. Lord glanced over the Prakriti and impregnated it with the atomic individual souls.
Correct. Like all of us. Yeah, correct. Yes, go ahead.
Spell of illusion in material world. Under the spell of material energy, all these individuals are working for sense gratification, thinking of being enjoyers.
Yeah. Next.
This mentality is being dragged to the last snare of Maya, when the living entity wants to become one with Lord. Ultimate goal of living entity after
actually,
many...
you know what is the spine? Okay. After many births.
Yes. Ultimate goal of living entity after many births of sense gratification, a great soul surrenders unto Vasudeva.
Yeah, Supreme Lord. Yeah. So the last but one point says the mentality for sense gratification. She has shown a picture. See the second picture. One fellow is eating all nasty things. He becomes a pig in the next life. And then below that you see a person is raping a woman and he becomes a dog in the next life. So in this way, the living being exploits and enjoys the resources of this world as if it is all his own. And the result is that he suffers subsequently. But there are people who are called meditators or jnanis or impersonalists. They are also having a propensity to enjoy. Prabhupada says in the last word, this mentality is being dragged to the last snare of Maya. The living entity wants to become one with them. So they claim to be God. That's what Prabhupada is saying. It's the last snare of Maya. Maya gives you such allurement that you can become God also. They renounce everything of the world, but ultimately wanting to become God, they merge in the Brahman and they fall down afterwards. On the contrary, even after many, many births, living entity comes to Krishna. And once he surrenders to Krishna, he'll never look behind to sense gratification. Yeah. Yeah. What Sankhya Yoga says. 3 yogas I have shown you. Look at the first one, Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya means to count. Like we have 5 tattvas, like earth, water, fire, air, ether. Then we have 3 subtle elements, mind, intelligence, ego. Like that we count for the 24 elements. That is called Sankhya Yoga. And the second one is called Buddhi Yoga. Do work but renounce the fruits. That is Buddhi Yoga. Then we have shown Bhakti Yoga. Do all the work as an offering of love to Krishna. Like that. So they do all the work as an offering of love to Krishna. So what is the difference between second and third? Can somebody say? Buddhi Yoga and Bhakti Yoga.
So Buddhi Yoga is pretty much applicable to everyone, right? Like we're doing the work, but we're not expecting a reward.
You renounce the fruits to God. You offer it to God. That is true. That is Buddhi Yoga. And Bhakti Yoga, what happens? You do all the work as an offering of love to Krishna. You don't do any work other than, connecting to Krishna. In Buddhi Yoga, it is likely that we may do work and we may sometimes forget to renounce the fruits, or we do whatever work we like according to psychophysical nature, and then we offer the fruits. Whereas in Bhakti Yoga, a person is ready to do any type of service. If Guru says go and distribute books, he will distribute books. Guru says study and preach, he will study and preach. Whatever. That is Bhakti Yoga is more advanced. When we talk about Sankhya Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, it's an analytical study of the body and soul. Analysis of temporary material world leads to detachment from intellect. The purpose of analytical study of the whole body is to develop detachment from it totally. And then that gives knowledge eventually. That's the goal of this Sankhya. On the other hand, when you go to the Nishkama Karma Yoga, I am not material body, I am spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. One understands that. And I want to render service to him. I'll work in a detached spirit. This is the mood in which one performs Nishkama Karma Yoga. It is called as a dutiful yet detached work, offering all the fruits to God. Nishkama Karma Yoga. Like you were shown in the picture. You ask him, who are you? He will say, I am a servant of God. What work you do? Work allotted by God. How do you do the work? I work hard with sincerity, dedication to my best ability. And what do you do with the results? I hand it over to God. Because this is the mood in which Nishkama Karma Yoga is done. I will explain it more in the next class. This topic is coming up now. You want to live a life according to God's laws and work selflessly as an offering to Him. Give up our false ego of being a doer. We have to purify our heart of material desires. So this is like a summary it's given. Okay. Thank you. We completed. So I always finish exactly on time. So I didn't leave any room for questions today. I have to catch up with all my mails. I have been in extensive travel in India after I returned from USA. So therefore, there are more than 600 mails in my box. I am yet to get some time to reply them. So some of you, Jacob has sent a mail. Some others also have sent mails. So I will try to get back to all of you with the responses. Otherwise, you are all practicing nicely. Ade Ogun, you are chanting nicely, going on. Yes. Other? Yes. Sunit?
Yes, I wanted to just...
I just wanted to... a couple of your mails. I'm yet to reply, I think, Sunit. Thank you for your mail.
Yeah. I just wanted to understand one thing from this class, which I'm still confused about, is that Bhakti Yoga means I'm reading Gita every day. I have completed 2nd chapter and a lot of things I understood from that. But
Okay.
this, like in today's class, you discussed the Bhakti Yoga and Nishkam Karma Yoga. So
Correct.
you said that as an offering to God. So like if I'm working in my office,
Yeah.
so before starting my work,
Yes.
I should pray to God that whatever I'm going to do is it will be my offering to you. Like this,
Correct.
I have to practice every day, every
That's good.
time when I
Yes.
start a work.
That's a very good way to begin any work. Yeah. And also we can tell God that, I am incapable of doing anything in this world, but you gave me the brain, you give me the hands and legs, you have given me the instruments like eyes and ears and everything. So I am grateful to you for all these things, and I'm going to do the work. That is before beginning the work. And while doing the work, we don't become proud that I am a great, smart leader or something. I know that Krishna is making me smart. I am only an instrument in his hands. So, and then we always think I'm servant of God, and God is the master. And he has given me this body. I'm a tenant in this body. I am a custodian of this body. We should think like that. Just like if I live in an apartment for rent, I am a custodian of the apartment. I'm not owner of the apartment. Same manner, our material body is given to us for activities. So we are custodian of the material body. So if you are in this consciousness, I am servant of Krishna. Everything belongs to him, and I am doing some work for on his order. He says to do the work. Do your prescribed duty. You should not run away. So I am doing the duty for his pleasure. I am doing. How will I do it? I will do it diligently. I will do it with commitment and responsibility, so that I will bring good reputation to ISKCON also. Because if you are like one of our boys in Pune got a job in a good company in Pune. So he was such a good employee, well behaved, friendly and cooperative with all people. And he was very competent in his field also. So the boss was so pleased. So he saw this Tulsi Kantimala in his neck. And then he asked him, what is this? He told him, it's Tulsi Mala. I follow 4 regulative principles. He said, I don't do illicit sex or meat eating or intoxication and gambling. And the boss was amazed. Oh, really? That's great. Then he asked him, can you bring some more boys like you who are wearing this? Get some more boys for our company. Because you are doing such a good job. I am so pleased with you. So through him, he took 5 more devotees in the same company. They got jobs because of this one boy bringing a good reputation. And this boy has given a mala to his boss. And now the boss is also chanting now. Yeah. So on the other hand, there are boys who go to company at 11 o'clock and they leave at 3 o'clock. And the boss is wild. Who is this fellow? Throw him out of the company. They lay him off from the job. And then if he is wearing the Kantimala, boss will say, anybody wearing this and coming for the job, don't take them. They will say, because he has brought a bad repute to ISKCON. So in this way, you can serve Krishna by your job, by bringing good reputation to Krishna. Yeah.
And at
And
the end of
similarly,
the day, at the end of the day, I should be offering. At the end of the day, I will be offering like whatever I have done today. I'm offering all the results and fruits, whatever I have done today to you. So this will be like closing of my day with this kind of words.
And then you say Om Tat Sat. Yeah. And then you say Om Tat Sat, we call it.
Om Tat Sat.
That means, we are offering all the fruit. Yeah, Om Tat Sat. Prabhupada has written that in the Bhagavad Gita introduction, you will see when it is ending, Tat Sat, Prabhupada writes. So Om Tat Sat means, Sat means absolute truth, from God. So when you Om Tat Sat means whatever that is actually whatever your work you have done, that is offered to Lord. As soon as you say that, it is like immediately it's transferred to him. So once you transfer to him, you become a free bird, and you are completely relieved from all karmic reactions by that. You are relieved from all the reactions by that. You do your things very well, Sunit Prabhu. Very, very conscientiously you do your things. It's very wonderful. Continue that.
Yeah, I will be starting third chapter from tomorrow morning.
Very good. So you are ahead of us. We are. I still have some more verses to complete in second chapter. So thank you all very much. So if you have a copy of Bhagavad Gita, you can keep watching and reading as I keep proceeding. Today I have finished up to 2.39. I have finished. So you keep watching it, how it is going, and in your leisure time, you can read the purports.
I will need your help in sharing the slides after every session. I need the slides because I can open the book and I can.
Yeah, you got it. You got the. Did you get the slides of the previous session?
I don't think so.
Okay, Jaya Krishna Prabhu. I told Shivaji Prabhu to share all the slides. Do you have all the slideshows?
Sure, Prabhuji. Actually, we do have. We created a drive where we are adding all the slides, all the PPTs for all the sessions happened till now. Maybe last session was not added. I'll make sure it will be added.
And do they have the link for that? These devotees?
Yes, Prabhu. I'm sharing with Sunit. Sunit has the drive link already.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sunita has that. Okay. If anybody wishes to see the PPT, let them get a copy. Huh? Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Radha Shyam Prabhuji.